Welcome to the first video in series of videos I'm titling Avatar What If. And in these what if videos, I'm going to explore what I think would happen if just a tiny detail or big detail changed in the world of Avatar The Last Airbender or Legend of Korra. And this first question I've always been dying to answer is, what would have happened if Zhao would have killed the moon spirit for good? So let's first recap. We know that the ocean and the moon spirit, Tui and La, gave up their spirit forms and came to the physical world in the form of two koi fish. Now, Zhao learned of this in the spirit library, and he decided it was his destiny to destroy the moon spirit. Now, when he's actually at this point in time, he's in the North Pole, in the Northern Water Tribe, at the Spirit Oasis, has the moon spirit in hand. Aang and Uncle Iroh tries to warn him that not only will this have ramifications for the Water Tribe, but also have ramifications for the whole entire world.
Destroying the moon won't hurt just the Water Tribe. It will hurt everyone, including you. Without the moon, everything would fall out of balance. You have no idea what kind of chaos that would unleash on the world.
He is right, Zhao. The Fire Nation needs the moon too. We all depend on the balance.
But Zhao does not heed their warning. He ignores them and he kills the moon spirit anyway. Now, because of this, the waterbenders lose their waterbending, and Aang instinctively goes into the Avatar state, and he sort of merges with the ocean spirit. It seems like it's mostly driven by the ocean spirit being pissed off that his partner was gone. And he becomes this unstoppable, huge Godzilla-like monster, and he just wreaks havoc over all the Fire Nation ships, any Fire Nation soldier who's not bowing to him, which is no one bows to him. He completely just decimates their whole entire armada. He does have a lot of mercy on pretty much any of the Water Tribe members who bows to them, and that's very important, I think. But later on, before this, we learned that Yue was touched by the moon spirit, and she decides it's her duty to sacrifice herself and give her own life energy that was borrowed from the moon spirit back to it, and that revives the moon spirit, and she also becomes the moon spirit. But before the moon spirit leave to go back to being a koi fish, he did take Zhao with him to the spirit world and eventually end up in the fog of lost souls. So the real question here is, what would have happened if Yue didn't sacrifice herself? First of all, let's reiterate that the ocean spirit doesn't give a crap about anyone's lives unless you're bowing to it. I mean, it does not care. It will wipe you out. I mean, let's just listen to what Zula just says about a couple of tides.
And if I were to have you thrown overboard, would the tides think twice about smashing you against the rocky shore?
No, Princess.
Well then, maybe you should worry less about the tides, who've already made up their mind about killing you, and worry more about me, who's still mulling it over.
But as we know, the moon came back, and because of that really calmed the ocean spirit down. So what would have happened if the ocean spirit wasn't calmed down? It was wreaking havoc. I think it would have continued to just decimate the Fire Nation ships. We do see them falling back, and they probably go back to the Fire Nation. And if I'm the ocean spirit, I just keep following him there also. And he just continues probably wrecking everything in his way. The ocean spirit might just become the new god. Like, hey, if you're not bound down to it, then he's gonna wipe you out and kill you. But I think the ocean spirit will eventually stop and calm down. I mean, either the Avatar state, Rava, or past avatars will calm him down, or I think his bloodlust will be satisfied. And let's also think about this in a scientific perspective also, because science does play a little part in the world of Avatar. The waterbenders drawing their power from the moon makes a lot of sense. The moon is actually responsible for most of the tides. The moon on our actual Earth. Just check out this clip from YouTube channel Brightside, and the full video link is in the description below.
Right now, the moon's gravitational force pulls the Earth's water masses towards itself, creating a huge tidal bulge about 1.5 feet high out in the middle of the ocean. The sun pulls its own tidal bulge towards itself, keeping everything in balance. So, if we take the moon out of the equation, that balance is broken. This creates a supermassive tidal wave. California, Australia, Southeast Asia, large parts of Africa, Chile, India, and parts of Western Europe disappear in the rushing mass of water.
In the real world, the moon disappearing would have much dire and long-term consequences, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to focus on the short term. So, without the moon, if the moon just disappeared, there'll be a giant wave that will mostly harm a lot of coastal regions. And the Fire Nation is an island nation that's mostly surrounded by water. It would be completely devastated. All right, so where does this leave our 4 nations? Well, the Water Tribe will be safe to a certain extent, but they will be without their bending. For now, bending is twofold. It's a spiritual thing and it's also a physical thing. Now, the waterbenders of the Northern Water Tribe, they're very spiritual. They rely a lot on their cultural and their traditions. I mean, before they go into this battle, the chief prays to the ocean and the moon spirit. So they draw a inspiration or strength from their belief in the ocean and the moon spirit. I mean, as we learned in Legend of Korra in the beginnings, part 1, that all the power to bend comes from the lion turtles. They just learned how to bend from watching the moon. And so if something you believe in goes away, that hurts you spiritually. Maybe that's what really caused their bending to go away. Now, I'm really curious on what would have happened to the swamp water benders, because they seem like they didn't care crap about the ocean or the moon or anything. They seem like some country hicks. I do have one bit of evidence that might support this, and that is Yakone. As we know, waterbenders have a power to bloodbend. But the first time we learned about this is because they use the heightened power and strength of the moon during a full moon to bloodbend. But Yakone doesn't need a full moon.
He exploited his ability to commit these heinous crimes. We find Yakone guilty of all charges and sentence him to life in prison.
I think it's because he's probably one of the most least spiritual people out there. I mean, he's a mob boss, for goodness sake. Like, he doesn't seem like the kind who's praying to the ocean and moon spirit. It seems like he probably relies more so on his own power, believing in his own strength, and that's probably what drove him to become a mob boss in the first place. And so he doesn't require that. And I think eventually, throughout time, waterbenders might rely less and less on that spirituality. And they probably just focus more on spirituality within themselves and having that own inner balance or inner strength, and then they'll be able to waterbend again. As for the Earth Kingdom would be relatively in a great shape. I mean, their coastlines will be decimated as well, but they can get so inland where I think the Ocean Spirit wouldn't even be able to go to. As for the Fire Nation is donezo. Like, they're gone. They've been wiped out, probably. I mean, that's an island nation. Nothing would have stopped the Ocean Spirit. The actual scientific approach, their islands would have been flooded greatly. So that would have really hurt the Fire Nation the most. And the war would have been over. Aang would no longer have to be in a rush to learn all the bending, and really the story would be over. And that would be terrible because the story goes in so many amazing ways. As for the air nomads, well, unfortunately, they still remain unchanged. So let me know what you think if the moon was completely disappeared and never came back. Also, let me know of any other videos, ideas that you might have. All right, if you love Avatar like I do and you want to have more videos about this, just check out other videos I have on my channel. We do a fairly frequent podcast called Avatar The Last Podcasters, where we review each episode of Avatar, and also check out some other Avatar discussions that I have out there. Also random movie reviews and other reviews. So, all right, that's it. I'm out.